All right. Well, obviously, extremely disappointed. That was a game we fully expect to win. Um, our guys, we came out, played really well early offensively. We were able to move the ball, put some points on the board. Really got stuck in the mud in the second and third quarter. Really disappointed. Had to go for it a couple times on fourth down and pick those things up. It was really hard. And then not getting, not converting at the very end of the game. I mean, it shows, what we need to do. I mean, you have 4 minutes left in the game. You've got the ball. You're right there around midfield. You got to find a way to pick up a first down. You're going to win the football game. And defensively, we played well all night. Our guys did a great job in the red zone, holding them to field goals, keeping them out of the end zone. I thought they kept Salter off kill pretty much most of the night. And then those last 2 drives are just extremely disappointing. I mean, for them to go the length of the field 2 drives in a row with very little resistance, it's like all that hard work and everything you did all night just kind of disappears real fast. So, and the game came down to a turnover. There was 1 turnover on the night, and their turnover, immediately led to a touchdown, and that was the difference in the ball game. We talked about, goals to win the game was winning the rushing battle, red zone, and turnovers, and that turnover proved to be a real critical error. So, like I said, I got a locker room full of disappointed guys. They're a good football team. We made a lot of leaps and bounds, especially defensively. Last year, the way they were able to move the ball on us and just kind of do whatever they wanted, over 700 yards offense. And that was a whole different defense there tonight. Joe Morris did a really good job. But again, at the end, I talked to our guys about, how do you win football games is executing in critical situations. And unfortunately, we didn't do that. They executed in the critical situations. I think we showed we got a good football team. But, the way we react to this game and head into the next week is going to dictate a lot of things for us.
Question.
Can you just walk us through that last possession? I mean, it was just flag after flag, and just to kind of end the game on that note.
Yeah, your back's against the wall. Extremely disappointing there. You had the intentional grounding, which was a really bad decision. He was getting heated up. First of all, it's an offensive line issue. It's a breakdown. They're rushing 4. There's no way they should get to the quarterback, and Parker, just tried to spit the ball out, but he's still in the pocket. So from there, you have a choice. We had 2 timeouts left. There's 1 minute left, so you can choose a 10-second runoff, or you can choose to use a timeout. We wanted to keep the 2 timeouts. We felt like with 50 seconds, we're going to have to do some pretty incredible things anyway. Those 2 timeouts might have really helped. So it's kind of a mechanical deal where when they go on up and, the ball's going to be, they're going to roll the ball right on the 50, and we're trying to get the ball snapped, and our center just kind of got jumpy and he snapped it early. It ended up being a false start, and then the refs again with another 10-second runoff. So we did use the timeout there. So the refs took a long time to get going, and again that's what happened in that end right there.
We talked earlier in the week. If you guys were gonna make this a close game, which you did, you were gonna have to stop Salter, and you guys did, especially in the first half. That was the first time Liberty hasn't scored a touchdown since 2022 against Wake Forest in the first 30 minutes of the game. So just how were you guys able to execute exactly what you were hoping to do tonight?
Well, we got some good players on defense. We were able to, create a pass rush, at times. We tackled really well early. You saw that disappear at the end with a little fatigue. We really, limited their rush game. Most of their rush game came through Salter running around. But until those last 2 drives, we pretty much shut their run game down. They're a pretty good run football team. Again, we did a really good job. They had the lead for a total, I believe, 2 minutes in the whole ball game, or not even that, right? It was 1 minute, right? So that's the only time they had the lead was 1 minute left in the ball game. So really disappointing though offensively, towards the end, those, right there in the middle of that third quarter, we had some opportunities where we needed to pick up a couple of first downs just to keep the clock ticking, just to change field position, and we were unable to do that.
Tell me about a little bit about that, not being able to stop the rush techniques. You guys really emphasized that this week, and when we talked to you guys on Monday, you guys did that earlier. You guys limited some of those explosive rushing plays, but it just broke into the fourth quarter.
Well, it was really the last 2 drives. We held them pretty much the entire night. You're talking about the last, 4 minutes of the ball game is what they. If you look, I'm sure I haven't seen it yet, but if you look at the stats, I bet you they got most of the rushing yards in the last 2 drives, other than Salter scrambling and running around throughout the course of the night. We did a really good job there, But we had a couple missed tackles. We got a little flat, and that's where fatigue sets in. And and part of that too is offense. They come down and they score. We get the ball back. And we've got a little lead, and we got to go move the chains. We didn't do that.
Was there I think it was like that 4th and 3. It was the penultimate drive before. What was the conversation like before that?
Well, we had both ones that we went for. You're talking about 4th and less than a yard and 4th and a yard. You're sitting there at 4th and 3. You have the lead. They're literally probably 15 yards from field goal range. we're pretty, you know, we figure from 35 in, he's pretty comfortable from there. So if you don't get it, and it's 4th and 3, I mean, it's not just 1 yard. All of a sudden, you're giving him 15 yards to try to kick a field goal to win. So that was kind of the thought process there.
There was a stretch that you guys had on offense, especially in the third quarter, where you guys had several drives in a row that ended in punts and prevented you guys from scoring. So just talk to me just about what happened on those offensive drives, and just I guess what happened there to prevent you guys from extending the lead that you guys had.
Well, we were really poor on first down. I mean, you saw that we had a bunch of first downs where, you know, we incomplete pass. I think we lost 2 yards on one. We gained 2 yards. I mean, you're sitting there and now it's 2nd and 8. You know, you're behind the 8 ball a little bit, and you know we're still trying to grow this quarterback up. And anytime we got into these long 3rd down situations, you know, they played 2-man. You know, they were able to. I thought they did a good job of rushing us off the edge. We got to do a better job on the outside with our tackles of creating a pass protection deal there, and that's really what it was. It was first down offense. We were poor there.
Yeah. You mentioned the quarterback. Tell me just how you feel like Parker played, especially compared to last week.
He played much better. I mean, in the first half, I think he was 6 of 8. He missed the first naked, kind of threw a dirt ball there, but he made some other really good throws. I believe we got like 3 pass interference penalties denied where he threw some really good balls. So he did some good things. You know, obviously you want to see, room for improvement, and I'll wait till I watch the film to be too overly critical. But I thought it was a marked improvement from the first game.
Did it seem like Parker was just more overall comfortable in the offense
Yeah.
tonight?
It did, it did. I mean, he was more comfortable in there, just his communication on the sideline, he was seeing things a little bit differently. And again, I think the way he came out and played early in the game was kind of indicative of him, those nerves kind of dissipating a little bit.
Is that something you guys kind of package for to put him in a more comfortable position at the start of the game in terms of completions and kind of draws and all that, or was it just, no, we're going to let you go out there?
We came into this game knowing that we wanted to be able to run the football. I mean, that was the game plan. Let's get downhill. Let's get, and we ran the ball, decently early, and then it was tough sledding. We came out of the locker room and it seemed like, we were just kind of stuck in the mud, and those guys were playing really well up front. Yeah, we wanted to give him some easy throws, and I think we did. And getting him out, even though it was incomplete, just, he saw it real clearly. He hit that nice little poker route. And then, one of the things that, hurts you too is you have a first down, and we run a post with a little, poker route underneath it, and he throws a beautiful ball to Jordan Smith, and we drop it. You know what I'm saying? That's first down. All of a sudden, you're about to have 1st and 10, and you're right there at midfield. Now, instead, you're at 2nd and 10. We run the ball 2 more times, and we punt. Things like that. And there's going to be drops in games, but when you're playing against a good team like this, you got to really try to control the tempo.
Do you feel like you guys need to maybe get receivers more involved in the game and establish more passing attack, or do you guys feel like going forward with this run-heavy game plan is going to be effective?
Well, I mean, you tell me. I mean, with 1 minute left in the game, we're winning the game, against Liberty. So, I mean, that's who we are. It's what we're going to do. There were, I thought we did get the receivers involved. I mean, I think Cordell had 3 pass interference against him. We had a couple of explosive plays, and we probably didn't take up more shots down the field. But I think if we can continue to grow and get better, in the run game, and again, just execute on first down, give ourselves more manageable 2nd down situations, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. What needs to be better for next week against Redstone that you guys maybe didn't necessarily have tonight?
Well, I mean, I think we came out of the locker room playing really well. We put 17 points up on the board really, really fast. I think it's the second quarter and coming out of the locker room in the third quarter, we have to be a lot more productive. We can't expect our defense to completely hold a Liberty team down for the entire duration of the game. And you saw it at the end. We were just kind of out of gas, and they got us. Fresno State's a good football team. They play really well at home. Their head coach, Tim Skipper, was my defensive coordinator at UNLV, so I know him really well. They're always going to be a tough out. So, we're going to have to play good. At the end of the day, we've got a good football team. But now we've got to grow up. We've got to become more mature. We have to take the lessons from tonight, and we've got to, we've got to teach. We've got to do a great job as coaches of teaching, rallying these guys. Again, we're never going to celebrate a loss. There's nothing to celebrate. It's really disappointing. But I think tonight we showed ourselves that all right, we are a good football team. We just got to settle down. We got to execute better in critical situations.
Can you just quickly talk about Abraham? I mean, last week he had a good performance. Then tonight he nailed all 3 field goals despite being pushed back twice, and it seemed like it didn't faze him. So just knowing you have that guy in your locker room, just quickly talk about that.
He's a phenomenal kid. He's a competitor. He's really calm and cool. His kickoffs have been phenomenal. Like I said, that those extra points that kept getting pushed back, the critical field goal that he made, the game. I mean, we have a lot of confidence in him right now, and he's a former Fresno State guy, so we got to make sure he's not too fired up next week. But no, he'll be a big cog in us having a successful season.
And final question for me. I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit before, but earlier this week you were saying, if you guys came out and beat them, it would really show how you stack up in the conference and that you guys are really competitors for the title again. I mean, obviously it didn't result in the win, but I think it still proves you guys are in there. So just how do you look at tonight's performance and again kind of reflect back as the conference as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I think our conference has a lot of parity. I think there's a lot of really close games. We are a team coming off a conference championship game too. I mean, so again, we have a locker room of guys. A lot of new guys in there, but there's a lot of returning guys too that know how to win. We've won a lot of football games in the last couple of years. So we fully believe that we'd have a chance. I think it's, I mean, I don't think there's anybody head and heels above anybody else in our conference. So it's really going to come down to, week in and week out, just executing at a high level. And, as the attrition of the season kicks in, you have to, make sure you stay healthy. And I think we lost Cole Shinovsky tonight. I think he has a fracture of his ankle, right? So that'll be a tough one, but other guys will step up. And, I mean, we got a lot of football left to go, you know what I'm saying? You got 10 scheduled games, and we just got to keep our head down and keep on going. I mean, somebody asked me from ESPN, what would it mean for the program if we wanted to win? I go, it would mean we were 2-0. It would mean that we're feeling good about the game, and we have a game next week. I mean, that's it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't need to be any bigger than that. So we'll just keep on working the problem.
Coach, you spoke earlier about Liberty being able to execute in those critical situations. Could you talk to me about what they were able to do specifically on the ground? Obviously.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I got to watch the film, but that first drive they did it, kind of through the air a little bit. They spread us out. Salter, got out and ran a little bit and threw some balls down the field. And but that second drive, I mean, they just gashed us. So I got to watch the film again all night. We were really, really good against the run. I mean, they're a good run football team, and we pretty much shut them down most of the night. But those last two drives were just they were really poor drives on defense. So again. I tell defensive guys all the time, the difference between defense and offense is you don't get to punt. So you got to, no matter how well you played, you got to continue to play all night.